Hi, sixth graders. We are on Unit 9. This topic is percent of change, so being able to find the percent of increase or decrease. So a percent of change is a ratio that compares the change in quantity to the original amount. So percent of change, you want to write this down, and you want to write this down, because this is very important. This is the equation that you need to know for percent of change. So we take the amount of change over the original amount. Percent of increase is obviously if it is going up, like the number, the original amount to the new amount increased, or the original amount to the new amount decreased, and so that's going down. All right, so to find the percent of change, remember we take the amount of change over the original amount. So if the price of gas in 1990 was $1.30, and then the average cost in 2016 was $2.14, what is the percent of increase in gas prices? So we take the change, which we subtract, so $2.14 minus $1.30, over the original. The original is what we start with. We started with $1.30. And now the way that I do this is I first take my subtraction, so $2.14 minus $1.30 equals 0.84, and then I do that over 1.3. So I take 0.84 divided by $1.30, or 1.3, and I get 0.646, but we're going to round it to the nearest hundredth. So this tells me that I rounded up to 65%. And it was an increase, so we would say there was a 65% increase. The reason why we do a percent difference instead of just subtracting it, so we could say, yeah, it went up from 1990 to 2016, it went up, I do not know why it keeps doing that to me, it went up 84 cents, which that doesn't really actually seem like a lot. But then when we say, no, it actually increased 65%, but from that much, then that really shows us, yeah, from $1.30 to $2.14, that's a 65% increase. Instead of, if we had $1,000 and with something in 1990, and it went up to $1,000.84, and we say it went up 84 cents. Well, $1,000 to $1,000.84 really isn't that much of a difference. So, and that percent of change would be a lot less than this percent of change. So that's why we find the percentage instead of just subtracting it. All right, Nike, it costs Nike $28.50 to produce a pair of shoes that they sell for $100. What is the percent increase of the shoes from the, what is the percent increase on the price of the shoes from the cost? So it takes them it costs them $28.50, so they start with $28.50 and it goes up to $100. So we're going to subtract. So we're going to take 100 minus $28.50, and I always just say whatever number is higher, you subtract the lower number, but then you have to figure out which number did they start with. They started with $28.50. So I do 100 minus $28.50, and I get $71.50, and then I divide it by $28.50 because that was my original amount, and I get 2.5. If we round it to the nearest hundredth, I would get 2.51. So the percent increase would be, so we would go, it equals 2.51, and then remember we have to change it to a percent, so that's why I rounded it to the nearest hundredth. So now I have to go over 2, so it's a 251% increase. 251% because it doubled, and then it almost doubled. It didn't quite double again, but it went up half of that again. Okay, this one up here, it didn't even quite double. That's why it's still under 100%. So basically it took 65, it went up 65% of it. But here, a 251% increase means it basically went up 2.5 times. All right, the price of a new vehicle was $21,140 during the holiday sale. The car cost $19,820. What is the percent of decrease? So I'm going to take 21,140 minus 19,820 over my original amount, which is 21,140. And then I subtract and divide, so 21,140 minus 19,820. And I get 1,320 over 21,140. And I get 0.062. So I have to change this to a percent by going over to the right 2. So I get 6.2% decrease because it went down. It went from 21,000 to 19,000, so it went down. And then last one, find the percent of change from 84 feet to 38 feet. So I take the difference, 84 minus 38. I have to put it over 84 because that's what I started with. That's my original. So I do 84 minus 38, and I get 46, and then I divide it by 84, and I get 0.548. I'm going to round it to the nearest thousandth, or we could just do, I'm going to round it to the nearest thousandth, but you could do hundredth, but then I go over to the right 2, so then I end up with 54.8% or 55%. And then it says the percent of change, so I can see that it decreased, so we would say 55% decrease. All right, that's all I have for you for percent of change. So main thing you have to remember, you take the amount of change, you subtract it, and then you divide it by the original amount, and then you have to ask yourself, is it an increase or a decrease? So first step, second step. There you go. Have a great day.